name is Drost Kokoye, and I'm a board member with the American Muslim Advisory Council, AMAC. As I stand amongst you today and I listen to the speakers that are sharing their stories about their work being devalued and their lives being devalued and not having a place to sleep and not having food to eat because of the way that this empire runs, I'm reminded that a lot of this is not new. And I'm also reminded that the systems are working in a way to uphold the way that it currently runs. It's not broken. It's meant to work this way. It's meant to have a marginalized body of people who are constantly the labor force but are not humanized whatsoever. As my community awaits the Supreme Court's decision on the Muslim ban to see if the Supreme Court will recognize that Muslims in this country are also entitled to First Amendment rights. The one amendment the majority of the country knows. The rest of them, some of us know, some of us don't. If you're from Tennessee, you know the second one. If you got a problem with police, you know the fifth one. But beyond that, it's a little blurry. But the first one is all of our favorites. And that first one that all of us know, that you think that because we know it the most, they would be a little hesitant in violating, the Supreme Court may, after the presidential administration already has tried to, take away the freedom of religion from Muslims in this country by banning Islam and banning Muslims in this country. So as we await to hear what the Supreme Court decides on the Muslim ban, I realize that today that the Supreme Court just upheld a lawsuit that said that Ohio, in the way that they purged voters, was absolutely fine. So I hear you, brother. I hear you that voter turnout is a problem. But I don't see that it's our community's problem in turning out. I see that it is a problem that is set upon us to feel that even if we vote, our voices will not be heard. So you know what? Don't worry about it. Don't vote. Stay home. Now, even if you do try to go vote, if you hadn't voted in the other primary and the other presidential election and the other special election that we had for the mayor, then we're going to have for the vice mayor and X, Y, and Z that they keep throwing at us, then you shouldn't be able to vote for the midterm elections because you haven't been consistent. That's basically what the Ohio decision was. And now that being upheld means the way that the Tennessee state just purged 200,000 votes is absolutely fine. So those 200,000 people across the state of Tennessee that turn out in August for the primaries, August 6th, please vote, they may not be able to. And some of those people that turn out on November 2nd for the midterm elections, they may not be able to vote. So even if you've already gone past all of the adversities of even getting into the polls, of having your ID, of being a registered voter, of even having the documentation in this country to be seen as human enough for your opinion about who makes the decisions of where you live, if even that is a part of the documentation that you have, you may not be allowed to vote come November because of the Supreme Court decision that just came out this morning. I'm also reminded that imprisonment in this country is not self-sufficient. People do not choose to go to prison. People are imprisoned. Imprisonment cannot be separated from the way that people are policed in this country. Police take people into prisons. We understand that the imprisonment and the system of imprisonment in this country is privatized. So that's already one problem that we have. CoreCivic, we're watching you. But now beyond that, we're not going to separate imprisonment from the way that people are policed in this country. Because people don't just say, I broke a law, take me to prison. Or hey, you created this law to target my community, and now because I'm a part of this community, apparently I'm breaking it, now take me to prison. Police decide those things. That's all up to police discretion. Yes. Police decide those things means there's nobody who can tell police that they are not deciding those things correctly. Yes. So now let me loop in community oversight. Yes. Here in Nashville, there's a petition currently going on so that you can sign up. If we can get enough petitions, that will be on the ballot in November so that Nashvillians can decide that we want an oversight board that is separate from the police department. Because right now, if a cop does something to a resident of Davidson County, he could then go and tell a cop, hey, this cop did this to me. And that becomes a file. Instead, what we're asking for, a bit, obviously we want abolition of police, but a bit is to create this community oversight board so that the community that is being policed by this troll can can be a part of the decision-making body who decides when you break a law in the way that you're supposed to do your job, here are the laws that you have broken, and here is what we will implement. Not your supervisor, who that decision can then be turned around on him. Not your fellow troll person. None of that. It should be a part of the community who is being heard and who is being policed and surveilled by the police department to decide when they are doing their job wrong. I'm also reminded that imprisonment doesn't stop in this country. The United States does not stop with the imprisonment of the people within the United States. I'm reminded that Guantanamo is still open and that 40 people are still sitting imprisoned in Guantanamo since 2001 without any charges, without a going on case, without any lawyers, and that's just the reality that we all seem to have learned to live as if it's not existing. So as a member of the Muslim community here in Nashville, homelessness is my problem. Imprisonment is my problem. People who do not have access to vote for who represents them, I don't care nationally. I don't care even statewide. If I can't decide who here in Nashville, in Davidson County, represents my community and doesn't understand the experiences of my community, and my community does not have access to be in those polls to decide who those people are and what their values are, then maybe this system is designed to keep us out. So what do? We break down those designed parts of the system where we do stand with each other, where everybody in this space does not look alike and does not believe alike and will not be eating the same thing and does not live in the same place when we leave this area today. I'm fasting right now. I wouldn't ask any of you to be fasting. But I'm fasting right now because it's a part of my faith. And I expect for you to uphold my right to fast. Regardless of what the Supreme Court says, regardless of what the governor of this state says, regardless of what the mayor of this state says. And along with that, you hold me accountable to your right to health care, to your right to a place to live, to your right to a proper job. My name is Drost Kokoye. I'm a board member with the American Muslim Advisory Council. Hold me accountable, and I damn sure will hold you accountable.